time. Start with the wonderful Diamondbacks Marlins. Popcorn catch. Also free popcorn for this guy. I'm not sure if the guy in the red is trying to catch the ball or is just looking for some free popcorn. If we can run the replay, he's not close to catching the ball, but he is making some great play on some kernels. Let me get some of those. Diamondbacks win. Moving on to the weird. Angels up 10-0 on Tampa Bay, so Phillips is in. He's not a real pitcher. He's a position player. Anthony Rendon decides to bat lefty like it's wiffle ball. Hits a home run. So, hey, if you guys are going to be ridiculous, we'll be ridiculous too. Here's the weirdest part, which is actually our next wonderful. Angels rookie Reed Detmers, while this is happening, pitches a no-hitter. Angels win 12-0. So you got one side of the ball being ridiculous, got the other side of the ball making history. Congratulations, Reed. Moving on to the weird. Closing seconds of Suns Mavs. Oh, man. Yambo goes up for a dunk. Chris with the foul. There's some ejections. Maybe I'll see in the locker room talk. We got some running down the tunnels. Oh, my goodness. Did this make a lot of noise in NBA circles? Not really. Met with a collective shrug. To be honest with you, I was more interested in Kyrie's commentary during his Twitch stream. Sorry, fellas. Moving on to the wonderful. We're back to Miami. DJ Khaled gets the inbound. He's fired up. But this is nowhere near as good as Rosé's rebound earlier in this series, which brings me to the point that I refuse to let go. Rosé, I need more livestock content. You got the buffaloes, you got the bull, I see him introduced to the farm, and then I don't hear about them. What is going on? I need a dedicated livestock Instagram, or just text me some updates via Lil Wayne, perhaps. And that's a weird and wonderful from. And that's the pastor. I figured if he texts Wayne, Wayne can text you, Nick, and then you can text me. It's sort of like a daisy.
All right, I'm on it. I'm on it, buddy.
All right, thanks, buddy. Twan's here running the fast break. New column from Bill Plaschke out in LA Times. Jeannie Buss not happy. Here's the quote. I'm growing impatient. We have the fourth highest payroll in the league. When you spend that kind of money on the luxury tax, you expect to go deep into the playoffs. So yeah, it was gut-wrenching for me to go out on a limb like that and not get the results that we were looking for. Brew, what was your biggest takeaway from this column?
Well, look, I like that Jeannie says she's growing impatient and really wants to get them back to their winning ways. But then when you praise in an unwavering way, you praise Rob Pelinka, the GM, and Kurt Rambis, the assistant GM or whatever his title is, that tells me you're not that impatient. Because I think she needed to hold their feet to the fire. You don't have to come out and kill them, but she was just so confident in their ability to put this thing back together that it tells me you're not really holding them and putting them under the pressure that they really should be feeling right now to get this team back with a great offseason, because LeBron James is still playing at a high level. Anthony Davis is in his prime if you can keep him healthy. And so they should be a contender in the Western Conference just based off those two. So she talked about Pelinka, Twan, like, you know, she's got the utmost faith and confidence in him. And I'm saying Pelinka didn't build this championship team. He didn't. LeBron was going there no matter what. And they got LeBron and his group got Anthony Davis to go there. And that's why you won that championship. So I thought the faith in Pelinka was a bit unwarranted and overdone. And Rambis, of course, with his 28% winning percentage as a coach, I think she talked about him in glowing terms that weren't warranted either. So I would have just liked to seen a little bit of saying, hey, we believe in Rob and Kurt, but they got to get it done. We've got two cornerstones in LeBron and AD. They've got to put the right pieces around these guys, and I believe they will. I think that would have been a better tone, Twan.
Well, I think if she's committed to having LeBron James break this record in a Laker uniform, then you bring everybody back. You don't break this team up. You bring everybody back, and you bank on guys are going to be healthy. You're banking that you're going to get 65 games out of LeBron to 70. You hope that you can get AD to 70 games, which is a lot, and I know that's an extreme amount being in the past. And you get a coach that can get Westbrook to play within this system, to play with these two guys. You got all the kinks out the way. You figure it out. We know Westbrook is not going to be a great three-point shooter. but he's still a guy that plays every night. He's going to play hard. Guy that had average 18, 7, and 7. He still is very productive on the court. And then you try to put some shooting around them. And I know that's easier said than done, but they've got to add some three-point shooting around those two guys. And you have to play, and Jenny Buss should have talked about that. You're not going to win with AD missing 45, 46 games, LeBron missing almost 40 games. It's impossible. You're not going to win in the Western Conference or in the NBA. There's too much parity and balance in the league now, night in and night out. So if you're going to commit to LeBron James breaking this and giving this group, give this group another run. Get them another chance, and you hope they stay healthy. And I'm banking on this. I'm having a conversation with them. Those guys got pride. LeBron has pride. AD should have pride. Westbrook has pride. They should put the work in the summer. Not so much LeBron James, because LeBron James could have been an MVP candidate this year. But AD and Russ should be in the gym every day trying to get better and trying to show the world they're back at top level. But if you're going to commit to LeBron James breaking this, I would not break it up.
Antoine Walker, say what you want about him, America. Loyalty is not a problem for him. Antoine Walker, loyal to the soil of Russell Westbrook, man. He's the only man in America with the bravery to come on television saying, run it back for the Lakers. So I respect that. I don't necessarily agree with it. However, none of that's my real issue. My issue is with every single one of these Jeannie Buss quotes, Miles. She's like, oh, going out on a limb and paying the luxury tax. You're the Lakers. You own the Lakers. Paying the luxury tax is not going out on a limb. It's the cost of doing business. And don't whine to me about how expensive the team is unless you're going to pare down some of the salaries for your close personal friends, most notably Linda Rambis. Who knows what she's making? Here's what I do know. When Jeannie Buss says she's had the same job she's had for 40 years, my advisor, Ms. Buss, 40 years ago, you were 20. Did you have an advisor then or a friend? Because she's your friend. It's like, she's not involved in basketball operations. She helps our players get acclimated to Los Angeles. Picks out schools? Helps and tells them the neighborhoods to avoid? These are multi-millionaires. They know where they're going to live. They know what's going to happen. But then there's Kurt, who she also dropped the 40-year line on. He's been in basketball for 40 years. Yeah, and for nearly all of them has been employed by your father, you, or your ex-fiance. There's not a whole bunch of people offering Kurt Rambis jobs. It's just the Lakers or Lakers adjacent. It's all of these things. And then she's like, oh yeah, and by the way, I want to make it clear. LeBron and Rich Paul run nothing. It all stops with me. Then why, every 6 weeks, is there another leak about how LeBron and Rich Paul made us trade for Russ? We didn't want to. Like, you can't say this to Plashke and then have either you or Pelinka, who's your consigliere in this whole thing, leaking to anyone who will listen. We didn't want Russ. None of us wanted Russ. We're not a stars team with the Lakers. Well, they made us do it. It's nonsense. And the loyalty to Pelinka, who is more culpable than anybody in this, is just an absurdity. So the whole thing made me upset. On the bright side, Laker fans, she did explain that people still let her hold their babies at games, and they're wearing Laker onesies. So that makes me confident things are going to get turned around.
Tough news for Grizzlies fans yesterday. Ja Morant, doubtful for the rest of the playoffs. Bone bruise in his right knee. I mean, shocked that people would see it. I think more than doubtful. Nick, are you concerned at all about Ja's future?
I am. So, micro and macro. Micro, bone bruise is one of those injuries that doesn't sound that bad. And then you're like, hey, speaking of Lakers, didn't they use their mid-level exception on Kendrick Nunn? Where was he? And it's like, oh, he missed the year with a bone bruise suffered last season. So the bone bruise part of it is concerning to me. But here's the bigger concern, Antoine. Ja's style of play. I know he didn't get hurt on one of these high-flying plays, but what makes Ja a superstar is he might be at this moment the best raw athlete in the league. He had the dunk of the playoffs, even though Wilds didn't think it was any good. Everyone else did. His ability to get past people and get to the rim is out of this world. And I do think he, on the spectrum of injury risks, He's got to be one of the